Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I want to thank you for choosing to join us today. Welcome to Paris Community Church. As a church, we talk a lot about being for Paris, and really what that is a reminder for us of what we are all about. That we want people in our community to know, and we want you to know that God is for you, and we as a church, we're for you too. But what does that really look like? Well, I can give you an example from this past week. Last week, the County of Brant was planning on hosting a kids' concert outdoors in the park. And with some of the extreme heat and the thunderstorm warnings, they kind of needed to make a change and quickly. So they reached out to us, and we were more than happy to accommodate them. We have a great space, and we were able to allow them to use our building. And it was a great evening, honestly, and the county was thankful for our space and how quickly we responded. And that's just one example of how we try to be for our community. Today, as we meet in person, we are celebrating baptism, which is another highlight for us as a church, where people make that decision and that commitment to follow Jesus, recognizing their need for him and wanting to live all of life with him. And so in a moment, we're going to show you a part of their stories. And maybe for you watching this, maybe this is a place where you are too. You recognize your need for Jesus, and you want to take this same step, or you're thinking about it. We'd love to have that conversation with you as well. You can reach out to Joel via email, and he'd be happy to get back to you and connect further. Thanks again for joining us this week, and my hope is that this time together is encouraging and that it might help you encounter more of God in your life. Thanks.
So I am Evan. I grew up here in the church. As a child, I didn't really understand what Christianity truly was. And as a teenager, through going to our church's youth program and Sunday morning services, I was able to gain the head knowledge of what it was, but had failed to make that personal connection with it. And then during COVID, I had stepped away for a few years. But then a couple years ago, I came back to the faith again. And it was small steps at first, just coming to Sunday morning services and just reconnecting with the community. And by being in the community, I was able to strengthen my faith in God again, and just making that connection was just helped me seek God even more than I previously had on my own. I'm choosing to be baptized again now as an adult. I was baptized as a baby, but I felt it was a good step to take to be baptized as an adult, as my own conscious decision to follow Jesus and make that commitment myself. And God has made many differences in my life, greater clarity and peace amidst the struggles of life, and just helping with all the struggles that we go through as living beings. And just being granted the opportunity to be in the community and serve in the church has been a gift. Serving Sunday mornings and with the youth group that I help with, as much as it's about helping others strengthen their faith along the way, it has also helped strengthen my own faith by doing these things as well.
Hi, my name is Serenity. I decided to be baptized because I believe in Jesus and I want to show him that I believe him. I know that following Jesus doesn't mean everything will be easy, but it means trusting him and following the way he wants me to. Baptism is my way of showing that I would like to keep following him. My family and friends and people at church have helped me learn about Jesus and God. Seeing their faith and hearing about Jesus, I decided to think of my faith with Jesus. As I learned more, I felt ready to take this step. God is making a difference in my life by making me a better person and helping me through difficult times, giving me the strength to help other people out and myself out. Okay. When things are hard, he reminds me that I am loved and that he will always be there for me. Knowing that God is always with me, he helps me with difficult times and when I need help. He helps me feel supported and gives me hope every day. Every day He keeps teaching me and giving me the strength to keep going, and I know He will continue to guide me.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming
So last week we started a series on the book of Revelation. And every week we're just going to land in this place of avoiding these two challenges. One is to avoid the book completely. A lot of times people read Revelation or think about Revelation and there's signs and there's symbols and there's confusion and there's uncertainty. And so we just kind of don't turn that far in the Bible. For others, one of the challenges is when we start to misinterpret the book of Revelation and use it as like a divine jigsaw puzzle to help us predict future events, what is happening, end of the world sort of stuff. That's not where we're going. Over the next number of weeks, we want to land on the book of Revelation and look at how this message was first given to those first followers of Jesus in a time of chaos, in a time of uncertainty, in a time of incredible difficulty. But then look at how these words are still living for us as well. How this is still relevant in the midst of our lives. As we circle back to these three incredible themes that just surface throughout Revelation in different ways, but three crucial themes when you look at the Bible and you look at what does it mean to follow Jesus. It's this: God is in control. Jesus is victorious. And we are called to be faithful. As I have been thinking about this series, as I've been thinking about my life, I just continue to come back to these three realities and allow them to shape how I live, how I respond, and then how I begin to read the book of Revelation. And so today we're going to jump into chapter 4 and chapter 5. And I want to break it down in two ways. First of all, kind of understand a little bit more around what is happening, because there's going to be a lot of signs, a lot of symbols, a lot of imagery, and I want to just understand, okay, what is actually happening? What is the vision that Jesus is giving us? And then land on the place of, why is this significant? Like, what difference does this make? And so let's jump in and read Revelation chapter 4, beginning in verse 1. And it's a bit of a chunk, but just hang with me. We're gonna walk it through a little bit. Here's the vision that John received. He says, "After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. And the voice I heard first speaking to me like a trumpet said, 'Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this.' Each of the four living creatures had 6 wings and was covered with eyes all around, even under its wings. Day and night they never stopped saying, 'Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come.' Whenever the living creatures give glory, honor, and thanks to him who sits on the throne and lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever. They lay their crowns before the throne and say, 'You are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory, honor, and power. You created all things, and by your will they were created.' Then I saw in the right hand of him who sits on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, 'Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?' But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, 'Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals.' Then I saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing at the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. The lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God, sent out into all the earth. He went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and while they were holding the golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people, they sang a new song, saying, 'You are worthy to take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation. You made them to be a kingdom and priests, to serve our God, and they will reign on earth.'" Okay, I get that. That was a lot. And you might be thinking right now, if you're in like the avoidance camp, this is precisely an example of why I don't read Revelation. Like, what are we talking about? Living creatures, lots of eyes, seven seals, like fall, like what is going on? And oftentimes this is where we start to walk away. So let's just understand a little bit around what is happening and what some of these signs would have represented, and then land at the place as to why this is so significant. I mean, Revelation 4 and 5 are the heart of what Revelation is all about. So what is happening? John is invited to see a vision of what heaven is like. I know for a lot of people may wonder, what is heaven like? I mean, what are we going to do when we go to heaven and spend all of eternity with Jesus? Here, John is given a glimpse. And this is so significant because the current context is that the followers of Jesus are in incredibly difficult times. They're facing persecution. They're fleeing for their lives. And so in the midst of it, John is giving a greater perspective. God is showing him that what you experience on earth is only a part of the greater reality. And that it's through this vision that our perspective begins to change. And so the four living creatures, what do they represent? They represent all of creation. They represent every living being. The 24 elders represent the church in its entirety. It can be broken down to the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 apostles. And so all of creation, all of the elders, and what are they doing? They are worshiping God in heaven. If you ever wonder what heaven is going to be like, here is just a glimpse. Here is a taste. But in the midst of the worship, we're told that God is holding these scrolls, and no one is able to open them. The scrolls represent that which is yet to still happen, showing one of the key themes that God is in control, that God controls the destiny ultimately of this world. But in the midst of it, it's declared, well, who is worthy? Who can open these scrolls? And John begins to weep. And we can't overstep this too quickly, because oftentimes when we face circumstances and we feel overwhelmed, we begin to weep. We may think, well, God is in control, but ultimately, what does this begin to look like? And then one of the elders says, do not weep, because the Lamb is worthy. The slain Lamb, which you see throughout Revelation, is the image of Jesus. And it shows how Jesus is victorious through his death and resurrection. And so what is this all about? This is a vision of heaven, a vision of worshiping God, worshiping Jesus. Now we could stop there and think, okay, well, that is great, but what difference does this make? Why this is significant is it ultimately brings together these three themes of Revelation: that God is in control, that Jesus is victorious. I love that when John is given this vision of heaven, we realize that no matter what is happening on earth, there is no panic in heaven. There is no uncertainty in heaven. We are reminded again that God is in control, that we worship Jesus because he is victorious. What I love about this vision is that in the midst of all that is happening, God doesn't give John a strategy. Jesus doesn't give John the plans as to what is going to happen next. He reminds him of what our focus needs to be. Not to panic, not to simply begin to try harder, but rather to look to Jesus. Ultimately, worship is where is our focus in the midst of life. You know, one of the key themes of the Bible is, what is it that we will worship? If you ever spend any time in the Old Testament, you hear a lot of focus around idol worship. And idol worship is any time we give our allegiance, our attention, our affection to something in this world. You see, worship is all that we focus upon. And in the midst of our day, oftentimes worship comes in many different forms. It can come in the form of our work or success. It can come in the form of our looks or relationships or wealth or sex, whatever it may be. What Revelation reminds us is everyone worships. The question is, what is your focus? As I was reading through this passage this week, it dawned on me the words that Jesus spoke when he was asked the question, Lord, teach us how to pray. Often referred to as the Lord's Prayer, and maybe you'll be familiar with it, but there's this one line that just jumps out at me when I think of Revelation, when Jesus says, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Have you ever thought about that? Like, God's will for us is that what is happening in heaven will happen on earth. And maybe sometimes we think, well, like, what does that mean? What does that begin to look like? Does that mean that I get to do everything that I want to do and there's no suffering and difficulties? No. Revelation shows us the will of heaven is to worship Jesus. And so if that's God's will for us in heaven, then how does that begin to become a reality here in my life? Here in the midst of whatever I am facing? Why is this passage significant? Because it points us to ultimately what our focus needs to be. That in the midst of everything that we are doing, will our allegiance, will our affection, will our attention ultimately be brought to Jesus? What I also love about this passage is that we are reminded in the midst of everything in life, the chaos, the uncertainty, the hardships, the instability, that God is in control, that Jesus is victorious, and that worship does not minimize the hardships we go through, but rather gives us the strength to endure. The third theme of Revelation is, how do we remain faithful? And I believe the key is in this chapter. It's not by trying harder. It's by drawing our attention back to Jesus, worshiping him. I know that in my life, in the midst of difficulties, in the midst of hardships, in the midst of oftentimes wanting to make things right, where I'm often invited back into is this place of worship. Particularly around times in my life where people that I've loved and I have cared for have died. As I've prepared for funerals, as I've driven to hospitals, I simply just listen to music and allow the words to wash over me and draw my attention back to Jesus. You see, worship is not just simply the songs we sing. That is absolutely a part of it. But it's the prayers we offer. It's the focus upon Jesus. That's why I believe that gathering together once a week together to worship God is so important. At times I get it. It can seem rather ordinary. And maybe it may seem like in the moment it's not making a difference. But if you ever considered the greater picture, that when we worship here on earth, we are joining all of heaven, all of creation, and worshiping Jesus, reminding us that God is in control. Jesus is victorious, and that through our worship, it enables us to remain faithful. I don't know what you're going through, but what would it look like this week? That in the midst of whatever you are facing, in the midst of the uncertainty, in the midst of the challenges, in the midst of the grief, in the midst of the sadness, whatever it may be, what would it look like to just pause and focus upon Jesus? Because that is worship. And allow the strength of Jesus to enable you to endure. Revelation is a book of hope because it reminds us that God is in control. Jesus is victorious. We are called to be faithful. This week, what would it look like to just set aside some time, put on some music, or maybe just sit in silence with no agenda other than to focus on Jesus and worship him and allow the gift of his Spirit to strengthen you, to encourage you. For some of you, perhaps this may mean you step into an in-person church service. Whether you join us on Sunday morning or you find another church local that is closer to you. And just allow this to be an opportunity that what you are doing with others, you are joining all of heaven and earth and worshiping Jesus. Because we know that God is in control, that Jesus is victorious, and that he will strengthen you to overcome and endure whatever we experience here on earth. Let us pray together. And so, gracious God, as I think of this image again, this vision that was given, may it just be front and center of our lives. That we would recognize that above everything else, you call us to worship you. And so may what we read in Revelation become captured in our hearts. That we see you, Jesus, victorious because of your death and resurrection. And that as we worship, we not only focus upon you, but we receive the strength to endure whatever we may face. We can get drawn in so many directions. May our focus be upon you. For we ask it, Jesus, in your name. Amen. Thanks for joining us this week. My hope for you is that this week your focus would be drawn to Jesus. And that join us next week, in person or online, as we continue to be reminded of the hope of Jesus that is given through the message of Revelation. Have a great rest of your day.
Jesus, have my heart, my will, my soul. Jesus, have my hopes, my dreams, my world. With joy I lay them down, with joy I cast my crown. Jesus, have it all. To you I bring my praise, my lips, my song, a living sacrifice as one reborn. Your life is now my own. Your will is what I want. Jesus, have it all. Jesus, have it all. Jesus, have it all. To you belongs the glory, the praise of all the world. Jesus, have it all. Jesus, have it all. All blessing and all honor, all majesty and all. Jesus, have it all. Jesus, have your church, your love, your bride, for joy for which you freely give your life, radiant and white, washed and purified. Jesus, have it all. Jesus, have your worth, Jesus have it all. King Jesus have